Constructing your life is about much more than just building a bank account. Each week, join real estate entrepreneur and mindset coach Austin Linney as he interviews guests who are constructing their dream lives and impacting the world around them on a daily basis. If you're an entrepreneur or wanting to start a business, or you just want to hear motivating stories of how others have overcome the odds, you are in the right place. And now for your host, Austin Linney.
Is it my podcast or your podcast?
I don't know anymore. Like, I have too many podcasts, I know I should have my own.
We're gonna do it. Okay. So guys, this is what happens. Okay. I don't even dude.
Okay, watch out. Stand by, everybody. Okay, stand by, everybody. Okay, you ready? 3,
you gotta leave that in.
2, 1.
Okay, construct your. I swear,
time.
I almost said brain dump. I swear to God, I don't even know. My brain is.
Okay, again. Watch out.
Okay.
Ready? 3, 2.
Okay, so my name is Austin Linney, and this is the Construct Your Life podcast. Guys, you have to leave that in because
of course I will leave that in.
You know what's interesting? At the end of Omar's podcast yesterday, I told him 3 jokes, and we almost fell out of our chair, right? And we were talking about you and I talk every day, but we were talking about I haven't talked to Omar in like 8 months. We spent every day together. And it's great when you get around people that you've known for a while and you just pick right up, high achievers and people that are driven and take care of their families. They never have to apologize when they got stuff going on, and this whole year for me is all about boundaries. It's all about boundaries and understanding that I need to be available for the people in my life who are closest to me, and it's kind of like layers, right? My employees, the 48 employees I have, are number one.
Now you have a bigger family,
right? And so taking the space to say no to stuff is freaking awesome, man. Like, hey, I'm not going to go out to that dinner because I got to work tomorrow and they're counting on me to be the best version of myself. Like it's a big move,
I think it's a sign of maturity, Maturity is where is how you manage your priority. That's when you see if someone is mature enough. You know what I mean? Young people, they go party all night long. They wake up the morning after, they don't show up to school, they don't show up to work, but it's okay. They're 19. Who cares?
Yeah.
At 42,
yeah.
You should know better that if you get trashed one night, like the morning after, you're going to feel like shit. You're not going to be in an optimal shape for your meeting. Therefore, you and it goes to that. It goes to ridiculous stuff. It goes because you become more sensitive. You know yourself. You know what you accept, what you don't accept. And I got to a point where I'm like, okay, that person, no, I don't want to be with the friend of the friend. Like, no, that's it. That person is against my core value. I'm not spending time I'm not going to eat with
one of
that
the things
guy
I won't
and 2
talk
friends.
about is I refuse to talk about the weather. I don't want to talk about the weather. It's hot in Texas. It's fucking cold in the winter in the north. We got it.
Deal with it. Deal with it.
Like, welcome, move. Like, I don't really care. And so for me, I think that your whole life is refining and pushing towards the things that you won't do. You know what's crazy about when you run into a billionaire? Like, you want to talk about somebody on their own schedule. They're not, one of the greatest things I ever had. You'll love this. You've never told you this. You of all people will love this more than anything. I have a buddy who sells multi hundreds of $1 million apartments. So he's dealt with like the Wrigley family who own the Cubs, like the Gum, like the biggest of the big, right? These are amazing. He goes, he's got tattoos everywhere. And he said, I have $150,000 worth of suits in my closet and I never wear them. I just sell apartments. And he said, I've never laughed in my entire life when I'm going to a meeting to sell a $190 million building. And Out in the lobby are all the douchebags in the suits working for the guy in the sweatpants.
Yeah. Oh,
That guy
yeah.
cares about one thing and one thing only, the deal.
Yeah.
He doesn't care about what you're wearing,
He's
what's
passionate
going
about it.
on.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
he's like, he didn't care that I had the tattoos and I had on, you know, a t-shirt. He cared about, do you have something that's going to make me money? I'm not saying that you don't have to present yourself nice and you don't have to have your shit together. But I think we put too much on it sometimes instead of just being somebody providing value to somebody and getting the job done.
It's funny, you're talking about clothes and all that. It reminds me, last summer I directed a show in Cannes, where the movie festival is. Cannes, you will never find that amount of billionaire per square foot, I swear.
Mm-hmm.
It's impressive, all right?
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that I got in touch with one of the marketing director of, I think it was Gucci. I think it was Gucci, and he explained me, fascinating, listen to this. He explained me that all of those fashion brands, they develop their marketing message to touch not the billionaires, but the people that wants to look like billionaires.
Mm-hmm.
They want to get the people that will they will max out their credit card with like a $4,000 purse. That's what they want, you know? All the marketing campaign is developed around that. And if you pay close attention, you will realize it. People that already have money are not going to be touched by their marketing campaign necessarily. Mm-hmm. It's really made for the people that are aiming at looking like a billionaire. Fascinating.
And this is the same thing when it comes to starting a podcast or content. You know, we're you know, Tim Warlow, shout out to Tim's listened to every episode since the day I started. Wow. 40 episodes in, he said, "Hey, you're an asshole. Start asking more questions. It's not about you." Okay, that was his message to me. Like, okay, then I interviewed him on 80, right? And now we're at 500, and he messaged me like a couple months ago. He said, "Hey man, you're amazing." He's like, "You've become a world-class podcast host, asking the right questions."
Yes.
Yeah, he gave me feedback, but the progression, the lighting got better, the camera got better, the hair. I had no hair when I started. Like,
yeah.
But we don't even start because we're so worried about having all the things in place, and it's just like, dude, just put it out there, tell your story, and let it progress with the situation, right?
I told you the first time I think the first time I got in touch with you, it's because I saw you on one of the podcasts I was producing, the Wrestling with Real Estate podcast with Barry Griffith. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And when I saw you, I took for granted right away that you were doing this for like 20 years and your podcast was like big and all that. Like I believed everything. Yeah. You know what I mean? And you were just starting. That was years ago. That was at the beginning, mm-hmm. you know? Mm-hmm. And you were just starting, and now, you know, more than 100,000 downloads later, more than like the community you've built. I feel as your producer that it might be time to rethink a little bit that show, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think what's interesting, right? Like I remember the first website I had, you know, that dog shit, that purple thing. I never want to see it again, right?
Stop.
So you know, but what's interesting, right, is you look at brands, right? And somebody was talking about this the other day. Is Gary Vaynerchuk VaynerMedia, or is he Gary Vaynerchuk? You know, I think he's a little bit of both, right? Yeah. And so as we go out and to buy companies, you know, at first it was Construct Your Life, and my name was nowhere on it, right? And then even to add Austin Linney on it, that was a big deal, right? Construct Your Life by Austin Linney. Wait, the next iteration. Then I actually put my face on there. Oh my God. I remember I worried about that for like a month, you know.
Wow.
Like just putting my name. Yeah,
wow,
dude. So that we got to get the picture right and which way I was turning and all these things. And like, oh my God, I'm going to put my face out there. And then it was changed Austin Linney, Construct Your Life, and YouTube channel. And now we're in what I think is the next move.
I think so. Because I think you've proven, you know, that you're not a selfish person. You're giving. But at the end of the day, what I came to realize listening and editing all of your episodes and seeing all of the content that you put out there, I see every second of it. I came to the realization that construct your life is your tagline. It's the mission of the podcast. You give tools to people so they can construct or reconstruct their life, or destroy it and start from scratch. I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, but it's sort of the mission, right? Because at the end of the day, it's Austin Linney. It's your experience, because people identify to you. And believe me, like I've worked with many people that know you. I know your clients. You know, like I've talked to a fair amount of your clients. Like I understand the mechanic that they have. You inspire them. And I think you started for your lack of self-confidence. You started and you were hidden behind your brand, behind the logo, right? Construct your life. And now I think it's time to, to be you, to be fully you and assume it. And it's not narcissistic. It's not selfish at all. But I think you're at the point now that you have enough track record that you can, be on your own. Like, I think we should definitely rethink the branding of your show. We should even reconsider the name, not changing the concept necessarily, because the people, that's what they want. They want that conversation. They like your take, your perspective on things. They like the fact that you're a 2x4 between the eye. This is ridiculous. Even too much sometimes. But I love it. Not too much for me, but maybe too much for.
Well, I would say one of the things I am excited about the most lately, especially with the current clients I have, is they're asking for unfiltered feedback at all times.
Unfiltered, Austin Linney, unfiltered.
Yes.
Austin Linney, unfiltered. Austin Linney, unleashed.
Yeah, something around that.
Unfiltered. Austin Linney, unfiltered.
There's a freedom.
I love that.
I know you're going to play around with it for a while in your head. There's a freedom to be able to be direct, right?
Yes.
And not have to tiptoes, right?
Yes.
And it's not.
Yes.
There was so much anger when I started because I was just getting sober, right? And getting divorced. There was so much going on in my life. A lot of things healing, still healing some.
Of course.
Now we're in what I would consider a different phase, which is buying businesses, coaching people, creating wealth, creating freedom. There's so much to learn out there. And what I pride myself on is bringing guests on and also information on in a format or a way that it hasn't been brought across before. I like taking a complex idea and making it simple.
Yeah, and that's a sign of intelligence. Smart people simplify stuff. They don't complexify stuff. A smart designer will design the Apple logo. That's a smart designer. You know what I mean? The simplicity of it. Would you revisit the format of your podcast, or you would keep it keep it interview wise, like interview based? Sorry.
I still love the interviews. It's an amazing way, so that's not going to change. Some of the topics might change, but not really, because there's just no telling, because I don't seek anymore for guests. I get referred from people that I have on the podcast, which always introduce me to great people. Yeah. Chrissy being one of them recently, from Sue, and it's amazing the people I get to meet. I find it such a joy. So I don't really have to seek anymore. So that's fun. And then I ask people on that I like. So I love that aspect of it. I think it always teaches me something. Sometimes I, jealously bring on, like, there's a guy who's a mindset coach for golf. I'm trying to get on. Like, I would love that because I love golf. So, like, those are the things I want to do. Okay. I have toyed around with the idea of linking up with my buddy and building a business from start to scratch, from start to finish. Like, branding wise, exactly how I would do it. I think that would be fun to, like, do case studies and, like, explain why we do marketing. Dude, I'm going to tell you this. I don't know if I've ever personally shared this with you, but one of my greatest moments of my entire life was with you on a call maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago. You had in your branding pack, I've never shared the story with you, but I think about it almost every other hour. So you had, it's when I knew what I wanted to do. So we were helping one of our clients, James, and you had your branding packet, and it said, "Are you do you consider yourself all caps or caps at the beginning, lowercase, and then all lowercase? And then I went into a 20-minute dissertation about his childhood on where he was and where he was going. And you look at me and you go, what the fuck just happened? But I think about that all the time because that moment was like, I love doing this because I could see the reason behind the branding and the marketing and like creating a story, right? And that was like really, it turned me on to like what I do.
You're an artist. Like the more I evolve, you know, like initially I was always an artist, that's for sure, but like I was put on the track of entrepreneurship very early in my life, right? And there's something I find similar between artist and entrepreneur. Those two are creators, and to create you need sensitivity. You need to be aware of the you need to be receptive to the world, right? And in marketing it's super important because marketing is about gut feeling. There's no such thing as a brand, there's no such thing as a product. There's only the gut feeling you have towards that said product branded in a certain way. You know, it's a gut feeling thing. And if you know how to listen to that gut feeling with time and experience, and you become a weapon of massive destruction for your clients because you understand them. Not only you understand intellectually, but you feel them.
Well, one of the things that I'm chewing on and kind of creating right now for the employees and then my clients is this question that answers don't matter. Okay, and stick with me. The only thing that actually exists in the world to get you where you need to go is the right question.
Yes, absolutely.
And with the right question, the answers become moot because the answers are created by your mind.
Exactly. So you know, we've been together we've worked together in marketing and all that. So we've seen clients together. You observe. I never say anything about myself in a meeting. I just ask question. I don't advise anything. I ask question, and through the way I ask the question, the client find his or her own solution. Yeah. And I just put gasoline on that.
So now what I want to do is I want to do your exercise, but for me, and I'm going to do it for myself right now. All right. And I'm going to talk about my brand. Okay. So when I started the podcast, I was all caps, right? But I was false, all caps in my name. It was bravado.
Fake it until you make it.
Fake it till you make it. Okay. Then as I worked on myself and did personal healing and got sober, I became, all lowercase. And that is because I didn't love myself truly when I got sober, right? So that was the healing, learning. Then I became caps in the front, lowercase in the name, right? So that's who I'm living now. But what I'm doing now is I'm going back even farther and stepping away from the letters altogether. And this is more about wealth creation. Other people are getting highlighted, right? And there's never been a more... Omar has the greatest saying in the world about life. He's like, there's only two solutions that exist. Either you surrender or you get fucking dragged. There's no way, right? And so when you have 47 employees, you can't be everywhere.
For sure.
And what I find is that I interject sometimes because I'm bored and I want to cause up some stuff. Yeah. And I have to watch myself because it's not about me winning. It's about my managers learning to be better people. It's not about how much my sales guy sells. Is he a better dad, a father? I said, I never talked to you about sales, but I've talked to you about, can you be the best version of yourself as a man, right?
Do you
so important.
Understand the power of this? You know what's occurring on a spiritual level right here? You pushed yourself outside of your own way. That's what you did. You pushed yourself. You pushed like yourself, your ego, with all the limiting beliefs and all that. The narcissistic, the egocentric Austin. You put him on the side, and now it's about others. And this is how now you enjoy your existence. You enjoy your life experience when you uplift others. That's how you get uplifted yourself. Because I see it, because I share my small wins with you, you know, and I know it's cheering you up, you know. I know I'm not changing your day and all that, but I know it's impacting you. Oh yeah, I'm happy for Marc. That's cool, you know. And that's something that you either you have it or you don't. And if you're a leader and you can get yourself out of your own way, that means you're not there for your own agenda. You're here for the project, the business, the whatever. You're not here for your own little purposes, for your own little purpose, sorry. That's
No,
beautiful.
and I think in business, I think if you're going to scale and you're going to do it the right way, you don't have an option to, right? And I think it almost kind of like, I tell everybody, like, I mean, it's just the truth. Who I was in August of last year and who I am today in September, after dealing with this company for 9 months. That was a boy. This is a man. And if you ever want true personal development, go buy a small business. Because I don't care if they're educated or not educated, they call bullshit better than anybody's ever saw.
Oh, yes.
And if you say something that doesn't come true, you slowly erode their trust. And so you have to, by fault, whether it be money-wise, own up to it, or do it anyway. If you say something, it has to come true, or they're not going to work there anymore. And so it really allows you, or it forces you to have a clear thought and clarity on where you're going. You can't just randomly throw stuff out there. It's a whole different can of worms.
For sure. You have a huge family to carry now. Employees is like a family. They support your business. They support everything. Of course, but there's one thing you see, like after leaving Cirque du Soleil, you know, working there, like, but I've still worked there, but not full time, just a consultant. But I left this employee environment. I left it. I didn't recognize myself into that environment anymore, because I was looking at my boss. And I knew they were an entrepreneur. I could see that the pen they were pushing, they were pretending it was their pen, but they don't know what it is to own a business and have to buy the fucking pen, and have to pay the guy that buys the fucking pen, and how many pens you will need for the rest of the year for your accounting department, the blah 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 blah. You don't know. You're just pushing it, you know. And I just couldn't anymore. I just couldn't. I have nothing against it. It's great, but it's not that I couldn't, but I didn't recognize myself anymore. It wasn't in harmony with me anymore. A little bit like you with the hospitality industry. You arrive at a point you were like, "Ooh, who the fuck is that dude? Who's that Austin Linney that I created? Getting drunk every night, sniffing cocaine. Like, what the fuck is this? Who is that guy?" You didn't recognize yourself anymore, and you made the switch, you know, and in your environment and in yourself above everything. When was it the pivot point? When was there a moment that you said, okay, this no more, or it was gradual?
I mean, there was a moment. I mean, she refuses to take credit for it, but that's why I've had her on the podcast more than anybody else. Annie Grassi, you know.
Oh, shout out to Annie Grassi. Yes. Beautiful human being.
I randomly ran into her, and she worked with me. And she said, hey, man, you know, this is great and everything, but you can't be happy. And then she says, look, Austin, I have no doubt in my mind that you're going to be successful. But my question to you is, when you're on top of the mountaintop, is there going to be anybody standing next to you? And... You know, that was kind of, we had a 3-hour conversation about my father, and that kind of planted the seed that some things needed to change. And then I went out to Arizona and spent the day with a gentleman named Templeton, and we spent the whole day together, and he sat me down, and he said, hey, man, are you happy? Like, are you happy? Like, are you happy in your current marriage? Don't bullshit me. Don't, you know, and I just fucking lost it, you know. And it was just, it was about 3 or 4 hard conversations, because you have to understand that I didn't respond to anybody. Like, meaning that I just was moving quick, loud, nobody could catch
me.
And then you start getting around high level people, and they see through what I do now. They see through all the bullshit and they're like, hey, this doesn't work for me. So do better. And I think when somebody that you respect calls you out like that, it's your choice whether or not you're gonna continue to get called out or you're gonna do something about it. I think it's the most important thing.
Wow. And after that episode, no more. You didn't take anything else. Like
No,
did you
I wouldn't go that
turkey?
far. No, I wouldn't go that far.
Okay.
But I tried, and then I made it like 26 days, and then I drank again, and then I waited like 35 days, and then I did it again, and then I just didn't drink again. So.
Wow. And now you don't drink anything? Can you drink a beer once in a while or zero?
No,
nothing?
I'm good. I mean, I could, but I don't need to. It's not.
You don't
part
need
of
to.
my
You don't
repertoire.
feel. That's cool.
No,
wow.
I don't. It's such a weird thing because I don't think I ever sat down and like congratulated myself. like I drink every fucking day. I'm not talking about get hammered, but I drank every fucking day and just stopped.
You would have died in Spain. Died. Dude, it's $1.50 for a beer. Think about that one second.
Of course.
$1.50 for a beer.
I'll do you one better. You go down to Andalusia, you go to Granada, and you just have a little food, and then the free booze comes.
Exactly. So, no, but it's the booze and the free food come. Yeah.
So, and it's. I tell you what, and I might have told you this story before, but I was on the West Coast. We stayed at an Airbnb in San Diego, in a little tiny home. And the guy was just a surfer dude, and he was down in Mexico. He's like, I'm offshore fishing. He's like, I'm staying until I catch something. You can stay in my place as long as you want, right? So we get to talking, and we're BSing. He comes back to the States, and he says, man, I just want to congratulate you. I have so much respect for you. And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, well, I used to be a heroin addict. And he's like, I beat that, but he goes, I have more respect for you stopping alcohol. And I'm like, what are you fucking talking about? And he goes, yeah, but alcohol is everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. It's accessible. Yeah.
So that was kind of another wake up moment, in my sobriety. So there's so many different little stories and stuff, but I think at the end of the day, I think I was so tired of not living up to the knowing and the greatness that was inside of me, and I just couldn't live getting to the end of my life and not accessing the full, and it's still a day in and day out process, right? Like the journey I'm on, the amount of people that I want to affect, like it's scary. I mean that those goals are out there, and they're fucking lofty as shit, right? When I get 50 or 60, I might switch it up, but I doubt it. But I've succumbed and got comfortable with the seasons of my life. When I entered 40, I told Cassie that I needed 10 years to get it out of my system. I said, give me 10 years to build as much as I possibly can to set our family up and create as much impact as I can. And at 50, we're going to disappear for 6 months. I'm going to regroup, and then I'll start the next phase of my life.
Ah, beautiful.
And that might still be intense, but it might be 2 days a week instead of 4 or 5 days a week.
Yeah. That's beautiful. It's great that you can live with your gift, because you truly have a gift to wake up people. Because you did it with me. I told you the story. I never told the audience, so I'm going to tell them. You asked me, I think it was more than a year ago. You asked me, Mark, I was feeling like a little off, and I was like burning out in a project in France and shit like that. And you were like, hey, let's jump on a call. All right, cool. We jump on a call, and you asked me, okay, so where you want to go with your business, where you want to go with your life, blah, 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 blah. And then you asked me, okay, what is the single thing that is preventing you from going where you want to go? And in my head, I thought spontaneously my wife. But at that moment, I wasn't ready to accept that thought. I was like, oh no, I might be wrong. So I bullshitted an answer to you. Maybe you didn't believe me. Maybe you believe me. I don't care. But that stayed forever. And I'm divorced now. More than a year after, I'm divorced. Beautiful divorce. It's a beautiful relationship, all in harmony. Everything is great. We just arrived at a moment where we both felt that we didn't help each other to grow anymore. So therefore, we love each other enough to let us go type of thing.
Yeah.
But there's no war, there's no fighting, there's no nothing. There's, you know, it's still in harmony, but there's no love as a couple anymore. And now for the first time, you know, because it's pretty recent, I feel empowered now. Like I feel, and it's nothing against my ex-wife Maria, nothing against her. She's a wonderful human being. Like she's my best friend ever. She will always be my best friend, you know. But we had to make that move, and you're the one that started this thought process, and I'm so grateful for that. So grateful. And you never gave me advice. You never tell me what to do. You ask the right question at the right time. That's a real life coach.
Thank you. And similar situation, client, we get on the first call, and 10 minutes into the call, I go, "You need to leave your wife." And he goes, "Are you out of your fucking mind?" He goes, "We have 3 kids." Like, he literally tells me, he's so mad at me. He's like, "Let's focus on my sobriety." I'm like, okay, fine. Whatever you want to do. I get a text 3 months ago,
Wow.
year and a half later. He's like, "Hey, so we got divorced." He's like, "You were right back then."
Wow. Yeah.
One of the things that frustrates people when I coach them is I tell them all the time that I don't care about anybody in their life besides them. And it really,
that is violent.
it is very fucked up, right? Because I don't care about their kids. I don't care about their husband, because I'm not coaching them. I need to be in a silo with you, and you are my only concern right now. And whatever comes up from that, I can't do anything about it, because that's not my concern. So I had a client, this is real life. I had a client tell me, "Hey, stop programming me to leave my job and leave my wife." And I said, "I think you need to read that text again. I'm not programming shit." I said, "The fact that you're waking up and you're sober now is on you." I said, "What happens from there is up to you. Read it again. Don't text me that again." Because that's the violent nature of the work we do. We're unopening things that have been closed off to you for so long. And the only way to do that is for you and I to live in a silo and focus on you and you alone. Because I can't get to the core of what you truly need if I'm concerned what your husband's going to think, what your spouse is going to think, your brother, your cousin, your mother. I can't do that. It doesn't fucking matter. Because
and anyway, it's a limiting belief, man. It is a limiting belief. What is my wife gonna think? Dude, I spent 15 years in an open relationship, man. Like, I don't know anything about jealousy or anything. Like, I don't have that feeling. And I see couple that live in constant jealousy, in constant restraint. I'm not saying that open relationship is good and everybody should do it. It's not for everyone, okay? But they live with that pressure that, like, their partner is, like, plucking them from being themselves. Like, I remember, like, when I wanted to fuck off to India, I was on my computer. I turned my head like this. I said, "Maria, I would like to fuck off to India." She turns around. She said, "When?" "Well, I was thinking next month." "Oh, that's cool. Then you should buy your plane ticket now." "How long you want to go?" "Well, 2 months and a half." "Oh, that's great, man. We have 2 children." And she's not a housewife. She's a freaking rebel. You know what I mean? Like, freedom, and people live with that. They grow up with their limiting belief of what a couple should be, what a relationship should be, and they're always in the outside. They always think they're living for their partner. They're not living for themselves. And living for yourself has nothing selfish. In an airplane, the famous example, in an airplane when the little oxygen mask go down, what do you need to do? To put it to your child first? Well, no. You need to put it to yourself first, and then you help others. Take care of yourself first, then you become a better partner. You know what I mean?
The only thing that your kids, that your spouse, your brother, or your sister need is for you to walk in your truths. And if you're not doing that, or they have a problem with that, then, like, here's a weird example, but all the same. For any partner out there, spouse, that's not happy about you getting sober, we got some work to do.
Oh, fuck. Any friend,
So
any
friend, like, what the fuck are we even talking about? And this is real life. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Dude.
Like, what are you're upset because I'm I want to get healthy. What the fuck? What are we even talking about? And that shows, it starts when that happens and your head starts clearing. You go, there's some instances in
Uh,
the past that don't seem right, you
uh,
know, and understand that's their behavior like that is only a reflection on how they feel inside, because you
yes.
can't leave them, right? Because that no 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 no, right? And I think what this is a real conversation with Cassie, right? Cassie, um, childhood was raised by her grandmother in the foster care system. Mom, just met her dad a year ago. Mom on drugs her whole life. She goes, Austin, there is something amazing for me that I don't have parents. It's a little bit of a joy because I don't have any traditions or other people's opinions on
Oh,
top of me.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. There's a downside to come with parents, of course, because you carry their shit around. unless
Yeah.
unless you wake up to that shit, unless you become aware. There's one thing that radically changed when I had kids, man. I my perspective on my own parents changed radically.
Mm-hmm.
Radically. Like, because I understood. I was like, before I was mad a little bit like a teenager type of thing. I
Mm-hmm.
was I was keeping some resentment.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I got my kid, I was like, oh, okay, they were changing my diapers. They were waking
Yeah,
up all night for me. Oh, they were driving me everywhere. Oh, like
dude,
maybe I can forgive them.
dude, this is a true story. First week into running this business, I called my father and I go, "You're a fucking psychopath." I said, "You did this shit for 46 years and you raised a family." I go, "All the respect in the world. I apologize for everything. God bless you."
Oh wow! Hey, your dad was an entrepreneur as well.
My dad was sold his business. He was a dentist for 46 years.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Okay, so that's where you got it. My dad is a businessman as well. It changed a lot, and when you're raised by a real businessman, not just someone that is money oriented, just someone that is passionate about business. Like I remember since I'm a baby, I was driving and my dad never flashed his money. He's not that rich, but still, he's wealthier than the average gal for sure. Um, but he never flashes money. The guy enters in a restaurant like you never guess he owns businesses and all that. He's super humble. And since I'm a baby, since I have a diaper, when we drive by a business that he owns, he's gonna say, "This, Mark, this is from this business. There's 20 families that can pay their bills, that can live, that can go on vacation, that blah 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 blah." He even refused to sell his company to an investor in America, in the U.S., because they wanted to fire the oldest employee. And that was the employee that was there when he bought the business, and he was like, "You're gonna go fuck yourself. You keep that guy until he fucking retire. I'm gonna find another buyer. I don't need your money. Go fuck yourself. That guy is important, you know." And it's important, like to carry those value as entrepreneur to our children, to wake them up to that money is just a tool. It's not an end in itself. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we're lucky that
No, it's just an
were raised
expression
by entrepreneur. I think,
of
Austin, we're very 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 lucky.
options,
Beyond
you know.
the well, beyond the, oh, you have a roof over your head, beyond the oh, we could go on vacation and ski, like beyond that, my dad taught me money. He taught me not being rich, not flashing money. He taught me that, you can create a machine that you put some
Mm-hmm.
money in. There's an operation, and at the end of this operation, there's money left. I'm fascinated by that since I'm a child. Not
Mm-hmm.
that I want to become rich. I don't care. I have the simplest life. Like, it's I don't care. But I'm fascinated about building machine that prints money type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Fascinating to me, and give job to people. My own business, I don't have a huge agency. I don't have a lot of clients. I could fire everyone and just hire one person and do everything myself and make way more money. But that's not the life that I want. I want to
Mm-hmm.
give job. I want to hire. I want to,
Mm-hmm.
I would rather make way less money and not have to execute everything than making way more money and working, 80 hours a week,
So about 6 weeks ago, I started teaching the sales guys. We take chapters from certain books that I love,
Uh-huh.
and we talk about what it means in their life and their experiences and customers and everything. It's my favorite part of the week. Just sitting there and
Yeah.
watching them. We're reading How to Win Friends and Influence People right now. I don't know what I'm creating though, because he goes, I'm starting to see what you do to us sometimes. But it's so cool. And you know what Ryan said to me, my COO, and this is something that
What?
literally I think about on the hour, every hour. He sent me a text the day before I moved here, where I am right now in Northwest Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
He had started the same week. All right. He had 7 other offers. He took the job because of my podcast. He listened to some episodes and he said, "Oh, this guy's no bullshit." So he came
Yeah.
and worked for me. He's a life changer. He says, "You might not know this now." He said, "But in a couple years you will." He goes, "Do you understand how many lives are about to change because you bought this company in this town?" He's talking
Wow.
about generations. Like the people that work for you, maybe those kids work for you, or maybe they just teach them the lessons that you taught them. And he goes,
Yeah.
that could have not happened. And he goes, think
Uh,
about all the lives that are going to change just from you buying this business in this town.
all of the lives that will be constructed.
There you
Telling you,
go.
you
Boom.
construct life. That's your mission. It's not the title of the podcast. It's your mission. It's the tagline.
We're leaving on
Cool.
that. If
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
if they want to find you or they want to track you down, how would they do that, Mark?
They can see the show notes. There's a
Yeah.
they can see in the show notes. If not, podcastproducer.com. Easy to remember.
Guys, if you got this episode, I really hope you keep in the first part because I've never laughed so hard in my entire life. So we're gonna we might
The worst
but
beginning of and when you nailed it, you sounded so like nah, they can check it out podcast.
oh guys, get friends that talk shit to you and make fun of you. It's the best. Guys, if you got some value from this episode, send it to a friend and we'll see you next time.